Yeah. And yeah. All right. Well, everybody, let's turn it off.
Turn it
Let's
off.
turn it off and let's go to the All-American Prophet.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You all know the Bible is made of testaments old and new. You've been told it's just those two parts, or only one if you're a Jew. But what if I were to tell you there's a fresh third part out there, which was found by a hip new prophet who had a little Donny Osmond flair.
This is when Elder Price now he's pumped up. He's had, a good night's sleep and he is ready to share the true and everlasting gospel with the people in the village. And so now he is going to explain to all of us what Mormons believe. And what I love is that little ad Donny Osmond flair, because
Right.
as the world knows, unless you've been living under a rock.
I have been living under a rock. So who is Donny
Evan,
Osmond?
You are kidding.
Well, I was a Seventh-day Adventist, so I don't really know much about the world. Remember
You
that.
like music,
I
though.
do love
Donny
music.
Osmond is a famous singer who happens to be a Mormon.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Okay, it's one of those artists who I've heard
Yeah.
their songs on the radio, but I
Right.
don't know that it's them. It's one
Sure.
of those. Yeah.
No, you're too young. If I have to be honest, that could be it. I mean,
Maybe.
but Donny Osmond, he had a talk show, he had a variety show.
Oh, okay.
He's had a lot of things. He comes from a big Mormon family. At one
Ah.
point, the entire family was very famous, and they were kind of like the poster children of good, squeaky clean Mormons. And to this day, he's maintained that image. He's never seemed to deviate from the faith. And he is like the perfect example that they could throw in. There are several notable Mormons. So like Steve Young, he was a quarterback for the 49ers, for the San Francisco 49ers. And so he also kind of was like a representative of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints during his golden era in football. And so
Okay.
there are certain people that the church has had as like world-renowned celebrities, but then also adjacent to that, they can go around and be like, and I'm also a Mormon, and I'm a representative to some extent or another. And so so Donny Osmond kind of falls under that category.
Oh, interesting.
So that's a nod
Okay.
to a squeaky clean celebrity
Right,
who
right.
is Mormon.
Thank you for
So,
saying that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
Have you heard of the All-American Prophet? The blonde-haired, blue-eyed voice of God. He didn't come from the Middle East like those other holy men. No, God's favorite prophet was All-American. I'm gonna take you back to biblical times.
Woo!
1823. An American man named Joe living on a farm in the holy land of Rochester, New York.
You mean the Mormon prophet Joseph Smith?
That's right, that young man spoke to God.
He spoke to God.
And God said, Joe, people really need to know that the Bible isn't two parts. There's a part 3 to the Bible, Joe. And I, God, have anointed you to dig up this part 3 that is buried by a tree on the hill in your backyard.
Wow, God says go to your backyard and start digging. That makes perfect sense.
That makes perfect sense. Yes.
I know. Okay, so let's break this down. So I totally love God's favorite prophet was All-American. And I love that because, of course, this is the promised land. Everything good comes from America. We
Yes.
must bring this America
Yes.
to the people in Ghana. We must bring this America
Yep.
to the people in Italy, to the people in Asia, all over. So our prophet is all-American, and I love it when he says, I'm going to take you back to biblical times, 1823.
Yes.
And it's like, kind of points to like, oh, egocentric are Mormons, like, oh, the real story began
Yes.
in America, in the promised land in 1823 to a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, squeaky clean voice of God. And now he's going to be coming and there's part 3. And of course, it's just buried in his backyard or up
Coincidentally.
Yeah, just like up the hill from him. And like, I love Elder Cunningham. Like, he's really trying to help Elder Price, but at the same time, they seem so salesman's like
Yes.
with this
The,
back and forth, like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And it's like, no, it doesn't. And it's just the irony, it just gets better
it's
from here.
brilliant.
But
The fact that they have to brand it as, oh, don't worry, he's just all American guy. So he clearly,
well, American's better.
yeah, that's
Point blank.
pretty much what it is. It's just
Yeah.
we're just better. So you don't have to worry
We are.
about it. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
just take it
It's
on face
all
value.
American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course it
Yeah.
would be better. Yes.
It's the better religion. Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
Joseph Smith went up on that hill and dug where he was told. And deep in the ground, Joseph found shining plates of gold.
What are these golden plates? Who buried them here and why?
Then appeared an angel.
His name was Moroni. I am Moroni.
The all-American angel.
Wait, hold on.
All right, pause it.
There are American angels. And also, I love that the name is Moron.
No,
Nye.
it's Moroni.
I know, but it's I'm just thinking
I know.
with the mindset of the name Moroni and just looking at him like did someone try to spell moron and, and then they added an I to, like are they playing tricks on us right now? Like what is
No.
this? Is this a joke? Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, so far it's accurate. So Joseph did go up on that hill. He did find the gold plates. I mean, of course, nobody ever saw them. So this
Right,
is obviously just his telling of the story. And then appeared an angel. His name was Moroni, the all-American angel. But technically he was, because he was one of the last Native Americans to die before this final war in upstate New York. It's way back when the Book of Mormon was written. So
Wow.
yeah.
Interesting.
So there you go. We have an all-American angel.
This is a history of my race. Please read the words within. We were Jews who met with Christ, but we were all-American.
All-American.
But don't let anybody see these plates except for you. They're only for you to see. Even if people ask you to show the plates to them, don't. Just copy them onto normal paper. Even though this might make them question if the plates are real or not. This is sort of what God is going for. Joseph took the plates home
All
and
right.
wrote down what he found inside. He turned those plates into a book. Then he rushed into town and cried.
Hey, God spoke to me and gave me this blessed ancient tome. He hath commanded me to publish it and stick it in every home.
Okay, pause it.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
The angel told him, don't show them to anybody. And then he was to translate them and he put them on paper.
Normal paper, yeah.
And normal paper and everything. So all of this tracks to the narrative that we've been spoon-fed as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I mean,
So,
that's kind of the thing that God was going for.
yeah.
So
That's how you build
that's the sort of
faith.
thing. That's how you build faith when you start the foundation on very unreliable methods. That's how you build. That's why you need faith. I've interacted with some street preachers in the past, and I've asked them this question, and I've rarely gotten a good answer. I don't think I've even gotten an answer because they always try to pivot it back to humans. And you understand what I mean when I ask the question. And the question is, before the creation of the universe and the cosmos and earth, God, the Father, is deciding to create the universe. You can see the results and the decisions people are going to make and all of these things. And he's saying, okay, at some point, I will want to communicate to my children at some point, 1823. So I will wait, obviously, for all time. And 1823, I will try and communicate to them. I will send Moroni to to go and
Okay,
tell
now
them.
you have to call him that for the rest of this episode because That's how he shall be known.
That's how he
on
shall
this
be named.
podcast.
More.
Yes. Yep.
So then he decides to use this medium of communication to say, okay, there's going to be so much history and so many cultures and so many practices of different religions with different gods, and they are all going to have very similar medium of communication, which is all going to be obviously, inevitably unreliable because of the very way I'm creating a human being's brain to read text and translate it and interpret it to fit their own narratives and their own agendas and their own perceived experiences. I know this is how I'm going to create a human brain, and I know that this is how they will interpret the medium by which I will give them my message, and I will still proceed to use that very same medium that all the other gods and all the other cultures have used, that has been evidently flawed and has led to many different atrocities and pain and suffering. And 1823, I will do the same thing.
There we
It's
go.
very interesting. And the question is, why didn't God use a much more accurate medium of communication to give us his word that was more reliable? And the only answer that I've got is, well, because human beings are flawed. And I'm like, well, I'm not asking a question at the human level. I'm asking a question at the God level prior to him creating everything and deciding that in 1823 I'm going to do this. He knew that people would read this and scoff at it and doubt it, and also people would misinterpret it, interpret it, and all of these things. Why are you still using this mode of communication? It's very strange. But obviously in 1823 he kind of switched things around, because he said, okay, maybe last time dictating it to Moses wasn't really accurate. In the New Testament, inspiring people to just write stuff wasn't really accurate. Maybe if I show them gold plates, because they like gold, and and they think gold is special. So as a god, I don't know why I would find gold valuable, because it's just a mineral in the earth. Animals don't find gold special. No other species that I have created as God the Father find gold as valuable, except for human beings. So why would I use gold as the thing to demonstrate that this is divine?
I don't know. You are taking this to another level.
It's
that's
a whole
for
different.
sure.
I go deep when I'm having these conversations with, and I try to get them to understand that. But
I get that.
Home.
Wow, so the Bible is actually a trilogy, and the Book of Mormon is Return of the Jedi? I'm interested.
Again, very salesman-like.
yes, it's very like, oh wow, see, I'm interested.
Yeah.
It's like an
But
ad.
then, so it totally
Yes.
is. It's presented as consumerism at its finest.
Exactly.
So it is interesting though, because I have heard lots of missionaries describe like the Old Testament, then there's the New Testament, and this is, don't you want to know what happened after? So it is very much so like the story continues. So yeah, it's Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. I love it.
I'm interested.
Now, many people didn't believe the prophet Joseph Smith. They
Obviously.
thought he'd made up this part 3 that was buried by a tree on the hill in his backyard.
Liar!
But Joe said,
This is no lie. Speak to God all the time, and he told me to head west. So I'll take my part 3 from the hill with the tree. Feel free if you'd like to come along with me to the promised land. The promised land? Paradise on the west coast. Nothing but fruit and fields as far as the eye can see.
Have you heard of the all-American prophet? He found a brand new book about Jesus Christ. We're following him to paradise. We call ourselves Mormon. And our new religion is all-American.
American.
Wow, how much does it cost?
The Mormons kept on searching for that place to settle down. But every time they thought they'd found it, they got kicked out of town. And even though people wanted to see the golden plates, Joseph never showed up.
I have maggots in my scrotum.
All right, you better pause it.
It's the most random thing that just gets introduced into it.
I know. I love it though. It actually just makes it even more absurd. Like this whole scene is just crazy. But yeah, let's break this down. So yeah. So people did believe. I mean, there are people that believed in Joseph's story, clearly. And then there were lots of people that had good sense and were questioning it and were, kind of saying, absolutely not. What are you talking about? And he was like, nope, I talk to God all the time. This is all legitimate. And honestly, the reason why they kept moving out west, unlike the narrative states where they were persecuted nonstop, they were
Oh,
actually the ones that were causing a lot of problems in these in these towns
surprise,
and
surprise.
places. And so really they were run out of town because they were causing honest to goodness problems. And so there were always these issues between the people of the society and the Mormons moving in, and eventually they had to settle out in Utah, closer to the West Coast. They didn't quite make it all the way to the West Coast like it says in the song, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they settle in Utah where for the most part they were left alone, but there's just so much even to unpack there of what they did to the Native Americans that were living there at the time and
Wow.
massacres that went on
Wow.
of the Indians. So we can talk about that on a different podcast about what really happened as the Latter-day Saints moved out to the West. And so there's that. And then what else? I just love Elder Cunningham. Wow, how much does that cost? And it's like, he is the voice of reason the
Yes.
whole time.
Yes.
Even though he's like there trying to support Elder Price, he
Uh-huh.
keeps saying what we're all thinking, like, how much does this cost? And the salesmanship of, oh, I'm interested, and so on. He's just awesome. He's
Yeah.
such a cutie.
It's
So
brilliant. To add a bit from my perspective, obviously you guys know me, I'm going to always do the biblical perspective.
sure.
Is the idea of this land that has fruits and fresh water and that is branded as paradise. And it's the same thing when you look at the Old Testament where God is leading his people from slavery, Egypt, through the wilderness to the promised land, right? A land that is flowing with milk and honey. It's just so weird how this God who lives beyond space and time, that really sees the end from the beginning and all of that, leading a group of people to a land of milk and honey, not a land of medicine, healing, good health. We all know that milk and honey is all nice and great, but then you don't want too much sugar and too much fats in your blood and stuff like that to
Yeah.
give you
Sure.
eventually to give you stroke and diabetes and stuff like that. You don't want that. Like you want like I'm just the vision of this God in the Old Testament is so human, leading a group of people in the wilderness. Of course, they want a land of milk and honey, leading the Mormons in 1823 to a land of fruits and what was it? A land of fruits and what?
Nothing
Fruits
but
and field.
fruit and fields
Nothing but
as
fruits
far
and
as the
field.
eye can see.
That explains the American landscape. Of course,
Yeah,
you're looking
of
for
course. Yeah.
if you were in Scandinavia, you wouldn't be looking for a land of fruits and fields. You'd be looking for a land of waterfalls and fjords and seas that is full of fish. And why? Well, it's surprise, surprise, because that's your way of life, and you want a much more better version of that. It's very strange how limiting this God's vision is, leading his people to a land of
Yeah.
fruit and field.
But maybe that's why this is the perfect time to say I have maggots in my scrotum because, sorry, did I make you spit your drink out? No, because it's like we're talking about, milk and honey over here, and he's a very sick man.
That's true. That's
Right?
true.
So what you're
Yes.
pointing out, it's like all of a sudden we're like, y'all can talk about all of this,
Yeah.
but we've got a
We've got
real
real
health
problems here. I've got
situation.
maggots in
Yeah,
my shirt.
yeah. We gotta get a doctor for Botswana
We need
here. That poor
doctors.
villager. Yeah, he's not doing good. We gotta get
Yeah,
him
you are
looked
here
over.
you are here
Yeah.
to promise us that your God has promised you a land that is full of fruits and fields. In Africa, a land of fruits and fields.
Golden plate, Joseph never showed up.
I have maggots in my scrotum.
Okay. Well, anyway,
All right, so he just
now
ignores
comes the
it.
part of our
Yeah.
story that gets a little bit sad. On the way to the promised land, Mormons made people mad.
Oh.
Joseph was shot by an angry mob and knew he'd soon be done.
You must lead the people now, my good friend Brigham Young. Oh God, why are you letting me die without having me show people the plates? They'll have no proof I was telling the truth or not. They'll have to believe it just 'cause.
Just
Oh,
because.
I guess that's kinda what you
Well,
were going for.
Yeah, maybe an overview of what they mean by Mormons made people mad.
Oh my goodness. So many things made people mad. The fact that they were doing polygamy, which was against the law, and a lot of people were very much against that. And just the practices that, come with that were just completely not accepted in society. So that's one of the biggest things that they were doing that was bothering people. I could spend a whole podcast kind of breaking down that question for you
Interesting.
and giving you the proper answer. But ultimately, it didn't really go down that way. It's not like he was dying and he said, my good friend Brigham Young, take over, or whatever. There was even some debate after his death as to who was to go on and be the next prophet. But yes, ultimately, Brigham Young became the second prophet of the church. And I just like, how the song is, oh, I guess that's the kind of thing, or that's kind of what you were going for,
yeah.
and the way he talks to God, because I just love it. It's
Yeah,
just
so
cute.
Brigham Young
Yeah.
doesn't get showed the golden place either.
No,
Right.
nobody.
Nobody ever sees the golden place except for Joseph
Yeah.
Smith. So Brigham Young takes
Yes.
over
Yeah.
from Joseph Smith. Okay.
Basically, that little piece of the narrative is how it's been told and handed down, is that I believe 8 or 9 men, I want to say, were the witnesses to the plates, but they only like
Okay.
lifted them and held them under a blanket. So nobody ever saw them. And then only
Oh.
3 men saw them with their spiritual eyes.
Oh.
So they did not see
Oh.
them with, like in the literal
They saw
sense.
them with their spiritual eyes. Just as I spiritually paid my taxes yesterday.
Exactly. All right, let's keep going.
All right.
The prophet Joseph Smith died for what he believed in, but his followers, they kept heading west, and Brigham Young led them to paradise, a sparkling land in Utah they called Salt Lake City. And there, the Mormons multiplied and made big Mormon families, generation to generation, until finally, they made me. And now it's my job to lead you where those early settlers were led long ago!
Okay, pause it. Okay,
Okay.
there's a lot to unpack in that.
Yes,
In that
definitely.
statement. He died for what he believed in. I would say that if he actually believed in it, he was probably deluded. I think he died for what he created, for the money, for the women, for all the things that he had access to because of the storytelling. And then, yes, Brigham Young led them to Salt Lake City. They did name it Salt Lake City. And I love that he says, and the Mormons multiplied. Yes, we have. We definitely have, because we
yeah.
are encouraged to make big Mormon families. Hence why my ex comes from, he's one of 7. I have 5 children. We don't mess around when it comes to that. We
Wow.
keep multiplying. And here's the thing, later in the musical, there's the song where the Africans are trying to retell the Mormon story from what they remember of Elder Price's storytelling. Much of this is like a mirror image to, well, what they're going to sing is a mirror image to what Elder Price is saying about the Mormon origin story. And it's just funny their take, and how it kind of shows how storytelling,
Yeah.
gets corrupted over time. It's not
Easy.
something that, it's like a game of telephone.
Yes.
Here, Elder Price is saying this is how the narrative goes. And then by the time the Africans get to retell the story, it has changed quite a bit, and it's not quite the same, but something stayed
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
there we go.
It's very interesting, the idea of leading them to the promised land and then settling in Utah. But then they tell the story as though Utah was the promised land they were going for the whole time.
Yeah,
But
it's easy
yeah, but
to
from what you tell
yeah.
me, it's like they just was like, ah, this is good.
No.
This place is good.
Are you serious? Like, had they gotten run out of town out of Utah as well, they would have just kept going. They would have probably made it to Alaska if they had to.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It's very interesting.
Where those early settlers were led long ago.
Have you heard of the all-American prophet?
Kevin Price!
The next in line to be the voice of God.
My best friend!
Do something incredible and be Joseph Smith again. 'Cause Kevin Price, the prophet, is all-American.
If you order now, we'll also throw in a set of steak knives.
All-American.
oh my goodness. And again, Elder Cunningham so perfectly brings you back to how consumeristic this all is and how they're just selling you something like you do on the home shopping network
Yeah.
online, or
Yeah.
not online, on television. It's like, and we'll throw in a set of steak knives. Yeah, it's crazy when you really stop
Yeah.
and think about it.
What did he mean by he's going to do something incredible and be Joseph Smith again?
I think that now, because Elder Price has this need to be incredible and he wants to blow God's freaking mind. And so I
Right.
think
So he
that
wants
fellow
to.
missionaries are kind of elevating him to the status among the
Oh.
villagers of like, listen to this guy.
Okay.
They say he's going to do something incredible and be Joseph Smith again because Kevin Price, the prophet, is all American. So yeah. Yeah.
And if you order now,
We'll throw in a set of steak knives.
I just love it.
Yeah.
The mindset that Cunningham has is just brilliant.
know.
It's just brilliant.
I
It's like,
know.
oh, we're doing sales. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But he gets it. He sees what everybody else is
Exactly.
doing, but not
Exactly.
saying. He always says the quiet part out loud.
So true. So true. Love
yeah.
it.
Okay, I cannot wait to do this next song.
Let's do it.
Ah,